Everybody go. Yeah, it's your boy, Harv. Welcome to the second show of Straight Up on Game. I'm one of your hosts and the main host, the running back guru, Dwayne Wright.
What is going on, y'all? What's going on? I know D Harv got his music going over there, man. It must be Hurricane Katrina #2 because the sounds are sounding good. We going in and out, but we know that's some Florida music, man. So
you know it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But last week we had a really good show. We had Cooper Woodhall and his father, Blake Woodhall. It was awesome. But without any further, let's take a pause. Matter of fact, let's take a quick pause because our other co-host is actually going to be on with us. Last week, he had some things going on with Fresno State women's soccer. But without any further ado, we're going to bring our co-host, Mr. Bryan Welch, to the scene.
How are we doing tonight, guys?
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, it's so much fun to be here, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right. So look, there's a couple Bulldogs on the line right now. I don't know D Harv. He's out in Florida, but I don't know if he's a Seminole. I don't know what he is, but I know there's 2 Fresno State Bulldogs in the house right now. So, he a Gator. That's what he said. So, Bryan, let the folks know, what you do and what you up to, and that way they can get to know you for a quick second.
Well, thank you so much, Dwayne. I am a senior at Fresno State. I am studying to become a sports broadcaster. So my major is MCJ, or multi-platform journalism at State. And I'm studying, once again, I'm studying to become a sports broadcaster. So I do the play-by-play for multiple high schools in the Fresno area. And I do the play-by-play for the Mountain West Network. Plus, I'm the play-by-play voice of Kalinga College for the football team out here in Kalinga. I'm actually about to call a game in Kalinga tomorrow night. I'm broadcasting live from my house in Kalinga, and I cannot wait to be on this show. When you sent me that text message, Dwayne, I was like, you want me to be on the show? And I cannot wait to talk some sports, especially with Fresno State. It's going to be a lot of great season so far for the Bulldogs, and I cannot wait to talk with you guys about this season.
Yeah, well, we welcome you. We have a 3-headed monster in the house. We were talking earlier, folks. I know we have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have Twitter, we have IG. So, we have people watching all over. So we thank you for just tuning in this week. But when we're saying we're all different folks, we all have different mindsets in sports, different experiences. So you are going to be tuned into a very, very, very funny and great show. This week, we don't have any guests, but we will be speaking a lot of sports. And tonight, we're going to talk about them Dodgers, man. How about them Dodgers?
How about them?
One of the best.
I like them. They ain't my team, but I like them.
Hey, it's pretty good. Hey, Dodger Blue right now. Good win last night. Really impressive performance.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was looking at the game, the first series, and I was just surprised because Freddie Freeman, he took a year off there, and not a year off, but he kind of had a slump. And when he came back, man, this guy hit that home run, man, and Los Angeles started to get that momentum, and then the Yankees started to really like, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but they're hot, and our boy Aaron Judge was over there, and he was a little flat, but he's still a beast, man, and we got to give it to him.
Yep. Can't take nothing away from him. He holds his own.
Yeah, he did.
That's
But
right.
he did hit with Aaron Judge. Bryan Welch, you're a Fresno State Bulldog. We're talking about the Yankees slugger right now, fans. We're talking about Aaron Judge. He hit multiple home runs in the series, including one in Game 5. So it's not like he had a slump. He was doing what he needed to do. But when you have Mookie Betts and you have all of these.
Shohei Ohtani, of course.
Exactly. So what do you do? What do you do in that sense, right? I mean, tell me a little bit. What do y'all think? I don't know. I'm a Padre fan, so I mean, I was glad and happy that the Dodgers won it all because it's West Coast, but I'm still a Padre fan. But what do y'all think about that series? It was just, it was emotional.
I think
Go ahead, Harv.
if Ice Cube wouldn't have came out there on game 2, y'all was in trouble. Ice Cube was the turning point for the Dodgers. Yeah, he brought a lot of adrenaline. So even the fans was charged. So yeah. But man, hats off to them, man. They played a hell of a ball game, a hell of a series. So yeah.
And for me, it was just kind of it just went by too quick. It seems like, you know what I mean. Like we usually, like the past years, we've seen the games go to game 6, game 7, but it just felt like the Dodgers were on rails. It kind of looked like the Yankees looked tired. That was kind of really surprising to me with those mental mistakes, especially last night. But that was not the first time we've seen the Yankees have those mental mistakes. And we have a team that's playing good, like the Dodgers have had, especially in September and then throughout the postseason, battling with the Mets. I mean, you can't stop a rolling train. The Dodgers played really well, and they had the timely hitting. That's all about it. You have to have the timely hitting and have the ball bounce a couple of ways and also a couple of errors. I know that error from Aaron Judge from last night might haunt him a little bit in the offseason, but hey, you know what? It's baseball. You move on. And you know what? Hey, the Dodgers are probably, hey, you know what? There are rumors that Juan Soto might go to the Dodgers, but hey, you know what? If that does happen, and repeat World Series champions, you know what? Or maybe even the Marlins might make some noise. I don't know.
We'll see. I don't know. But I would say this: a historic comeback. The Dodgers was down 5-0 in the game, right? It was, they were down. Now, I was at my son's practice, and I automatically said, "Oh, it's done. It's a wrap." I see people gathered around phones and, cars. I'm like, what is going on? But then we started to think that, like, okay, the Dodgers was hot since day one, right? Since game 1. And I don't care about Ice Cube at that moment. They were in New York City. And Fat Joe came out and did whatever he did, and it still didn't motivate him.
He made them lean back.
Yeah, they went back all right. They went all the way back home after the Dodgers. But, just the management, right, of the managers putting that team together and bringing in all of those players with all of these different dynamics, the pitching. I mean, we can talk about the closing. I mean, it was awesome.
So also, I mean, you can look at it from – go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing.
I mean, I know for me, it's just kind of like if I was Coach Boone today, I would be expecting to be moving out of New York for the performance he had last night. You know what I mean? Aaron Boone. Like when you have a blunder of a 5th inning and how New York fans are, you know how they are, Dwayne. You've been in that area. And it's like you just look at it's like you gotta pack up and move somewhere because you can't have that. You can't have that in game 5 of the World Series. You just can't have that. No way.
In the boogie down Bronx, fellas. They're in the boogie down Bronx and lost. They were up 5-0, 5-0 in a baseball game.
That's crazy.
And you still couldn't turn it around. There is a problem with management. I'm sorry. I know I don't really – maybe I'm just an ex-NFL player, but I know sports. And I know there's a problem with management when it comes with pitching and movement. So I think in the offseason, maybe they need to do a little bit shopping around and see what they can do. And, I mean, it may be a repeat. Who knows? But I like the Marlins, too. I think the Marlins may make some noise coming into next season, too. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, they might step it up again and get back on top. So,
well, yeah, Florida
we really need some sluggers down here again. I couldn't believe they got rid of Stanton to the Yankees a few years ago because he was the bread and butter of the Marlins. And I'm like, really? Okay.
Money talks. Money talks.
Exactly.
Yes,
You're
walks
right.
in professional sports. So we all know how that goes. But
Boy, I
fellas,
almost made a joke out of that.
we're going to get back on this subject, but we're going to go to a really short commercial because we want to make sure that our viewers can be able to catch us on our next show. So I will see you guys in a minute.
All right, welcome back,
You're
folks. We are here.
back.
We are back. That's right. That's right. Hey, Dwayne, what we're going to talk about right now. What are we going to talk about next?
Well, I know that we were going to talk about a little bit of NFL and what's going on tonight, with the NFL and the New York Jets. All right. I actually want to pass that on to you, Bryan, because I know you love talking about Davante Adams. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going on tonight.
You know what? A little spookiness in the Meadowlands tonight. It was the Jets taking on the Houston Texans, and the Jets get a win. They defeat the Texans 21-13. Aaron Rodgers with 3 touchdowns on the night. Pretty impressive showing, especially with Davante Adams coming into the Jets. And a little bit, it was kind of a rocky honeymoon, but now I think everything is smoothed out. I know it's the Texans, but I mean, pretty good showing for the Jets tonight. 1 touchdown for Davante Adams. I mean, hey, you know what? People are like kind of talking about the Jets tonight. Like I texted you guys today when we were talking about the show. I said tonight was a must win for the Jets to keep the season going. Plus, you know what? Having 2 bad losses in New York, I don't know what happened in the city. You know what I mean? Like good win by the Jets tonight.
Well, of course, Bryan, I'm glad you brought that up, and D. Harv. I mean, if you think about the Jets and the reunion of just Davante Adams and just Aaron Rodgers, I remember Aaron Rodgers and JUCO, we played against each other, and I knew that guy was going to go to the NFL. He played for Butte College, him and his brother, and he always had a drive, and people always looked at him like he was crazy. But I'm telling you, man, if he has a receiver like Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, and you look at the offensive line, they were clicking tonight. I mean, he was just darting those balls left to right. Davante Adams felt at home, and he had a smile on his face. Davante had a big smile. It looked like he was at Fresno State in his freshman year, but he was excited. I like that. That was awesome.
What about you, DR?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I hear it. So, I believe it was a good situation for the state of New York. Because with the Yankees going down, then if the Jets go down, man, they're going to burn the whole state down. So,
well, if you want to get in the sense of thinking about the Yankees, think about the Dodgers. They won, right? So, I mean, we go outside. I hear gunshots. I hear fireworks. I hear, burning buses on the news. You wake up, and I can just imagine the rats of New York just coming out the sewers and everyone coming out of everywhere. And it was just been a catastrophe. But those boys turned it around. I think it's going to be a good night in New York. It's sort of like a sweet and sour feeling, for the fans. But I'm glad those boys turned it around tonight.
Yeah. You seen the rats in New York?
And also,
while you was there? The rats look like people.
Well,
They just
it depends what type of where I was in the city. It depends where I was. Now, we'll talk about that later, but go ahead, Bryan. I think Bryan had a point. We'll talk about that one later.
Well, I mean, because you played in that division, Dwayne. You know what it's like for Jets fans. You know what that's like. But also, I mean, you have a new player that comes in that's supposed to make a difference in the team, but does not initially. What does that do to the locker room?
It depends. You have different players, and I always say this, and I know a lot of the NFL players are probably watching, and our peers. You have different tiers of leaders. You have the tiers of leaders who are not vocal, and you have those who are very vocal and they lead by example, and you just have those that is about the money, right? I think with their locker room, they have a lot of vets, I believe, that are seasoned. And then when you're in the locker room, you want to make sure that everybody feels at home, especially, when you're going over a hump, you're trying to get over that hump with all the bad adversity that, the Jets face. I mean, think about it. The injury, right? We're talking about the injury with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I thought his career was over with, and most of us did. And just how he had the tenacity to come back and be ready to go, that's huge. Then he gets his homeboy that they both broke records, at Green Bay to come back. I mean, the season is not over. There's still hope. All right. There's still a way for them to sneak in, maybe into a wild card. I mean, who knows, right? So you just take it week by week. But I think leaders are made in 3 different tiers, 3 different ways to answer that question.
Well, I mean, it's for me, it's kind of like everybody's talking about the Jets and saying, hey, I'm afraid about it when they fired Robert Saleh. What's going to happen? It's like, it's like the conversation was endless. But I mean, it's good. I mean, it was good to see the Jets circle the wagon, so to speak, and say, hey, you know what? Let's play our brand of football. Let's give Aaron Rodgers time to pick a defense apart, which he did tonight against the Texans. The Texans are not playing well right now. But I mean, it's a kind of a good win, especially losing to the Patriots last week. Not a good showing in New York, but hey, you know what? It's how you bounce back. It's how you get off the mat.
Right.
And that's what the Jets did tonight.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, Brian, the hardest thing to bounce back is coaching. But go ahead and I'll add that when you're done with that.
No, you go ahead.
Coaching. The hardest thing as a player, right, is to follow a great leader. And I feel all coaches are great leaders because, they're leading men and they're teaching men how to be great, right? So, like, you're following someone's vision so long. Coach came in, he didn't have the longevity there, but the players believed in what he brought there. I mean, think of what he did before he got to the Jets. Think about that. He had tremendous defense. He was at Frisco, right? When he had his, he was running the table at San Francisco. And when he got there, I mean, I can see that you can tell he wasn't really happy. I mean, you didn't have the same bench you had. You didn't have the same type of caliber of players. But when he left, you can see the whole organization kind of just woosah. Okay, let's start over. And that's what it felt like tonight. I when I watched the highlights tonight, I felt like the Jets may have an opportunity to bounce back. That's what I felt tonight.
What about you, D. Harv?
I didn't see none of it, so I really can't say. I'm just glad they won.
That's good to hear.
He didn't want any riots tonight in New York City. He didn't want no looting because that's what it's going to go down to when the Dodgers. They're probably still out there.
I got plenty family up there, so my sympathy for them because everything New York sports teams they about their life.
Right.
Of course. And now, hey, shifting gears from NFL to college football, Fresno State 5-3 on the season, hosting Hawaii on Saturday. I know that brings up a lot of memories for you, Dwayne. I mean, my first question is to you. I know you played for the Bulldogs way back in the day. Do you have any favorite memories of going up against the Rainbow Warriors?
Well, I can say that I had mixed feelings going against the Warriors. Now, when we went to Hawaii, we got blown out my first year, and then the second year they came to Fresno. We ended up beating them, I believe. And then my junior year, my draft year, we lost again. I think it was like 60-7 or 0. I don't remember, so long ago. But I always respected Hawaii. I always respected, the rivalry we had with Hawaii. But there's nothing like Bulldog football. There's nothing like us playing Hawaii, Boise. You know what I mean? But I will say this about Hawaii. They are a trickery type team. You know, if you play them, yes, on film, they look tough, right? They're grinding, and I don't know how it is now, but I remember playing them with the big Samoans and Tongans and rough and tough linebackers flying all over the place. You know, it was something to look forward to. You know, but now the game has changed. The game is, you know, spread offense. You know, it's more fast, elusive, and I know Hawaii is pass heavy, right? And I know Fresno State, we have
That's
more
correct.
of a balance. Yeah, we have more of a balanced offense. And I think, you know, Coach Skip is doing an awesome job with leading our Bulldogs. And I think our defense is just starting to get hot at the right time.
And I mean, for me, it's just kind of like I was at the game last week against San Jose State, and it just felt like it was a balanced performance, good offense, good defense, and especially the offensive side. I mean, it's just been a topsy-turvy time in Fresno. I mean, everybody on Twitter has been roasting Mikey Keene about his performance in the early season. Right. But I mean, it felt good. It felt like Fresno State found their ways to move the ball down the field. It was not the deep passes, but it was the short completions that made it a difference to make it second and manageable for the Dogs. And you know what? Hey, you have a couple of good running backs. I mean, Bryson Donaldson is going to be a very special running back when he's a senior. Right. I mean, he's going to be really good. And also Elijah Gilliam, a guy from Merced. I mean, it's clicking at the right moment. If you win on Saturday, you're bowl eligible and keep yourself in the hunt for the Mountain West Conference Championship. You know, hey, anything can happen. I know UNLV lost against Boise State last week. They're on a bye week, but they go to Hawaii next week. And you know what it's like to travel to the island, Dwayne. You know that how much trouble it is, the 3-hour difference, and you have to figure out. And they're playing Hawaiian music in the stadium. They're trying to lull you to sleep. And that's a tough place to play. You played Aloha State.
Those Florida boys don't know nothing about traveling to Hawaii. That is a trip. Now, I will say this about our Bulldog coaches. They've played there. 90% of our coaches played at Fresno State. They understand the complexity of traveling. They understand how to prepare the players. It starts with Coach Skipper. Coach Skipper was my running back coach as well. He was under Pat Hill. Obviously, you know, Tedford is a guru. So they know how to prepare. The thing is, can we stay consistent on the road? If we stay consistent on the road, be able to travel, be able to get into that game, strike early. I'm a keen believer. I believe in him. I told him months ago. I seen him months ago. We were at an autograph signing. He was there. And I told Keen, I believe in you. So I believe in him. You know, we had many quarterbacks that came through Fresno State and had to face adversity like him. But guess what? You have one like Derek Carr had to face adversity at times. David Carr had to face adversity. The quarterbacks before them. That's just the makeup of a Fresno State quarterback. Our fans are tough, but they love you when you're winning. And they love you when you're losing. But we just have to make sure the consistency stays the same with Keene. Our run game, we have to make sure we're pounding inside against Hawaii. We have to make sure that those linebackers, because they don't have the best linebackers over there. They do have a couple good DBs and some D linemen, but I feel if our run game gets hot, then we're going to be able to change the narrative, and we can sneak up into that Mountain West, conference championship or something like that. You know,
the game's actually at home this week, and that's when I think it was during your playing time that the legend of the golden screwdriver came about from June Jones. If I ever get a chance to meet June Jones, I want to ask him, do you have proof of that screwdriver? I know a lot of the media members in Fresno have a gag gift kind of that thing about have the golden screwdriver and all that jazz. But I mean, Harv, I know that you watch Fresno State football from afar. What do you want to see the Bulldogs do well against the Rainbow Warriors on Saturday?
Kill them.
That's a good answer. That's such a good answer.
Hey, y'all owe them one from that 60-7 score. Did you see my face? Y'all owe me.
but we're talking about an average season, right? There was a great post that I seen on Twitter, and I thank the fans for reaching out to us and giving us, hey, talk about the Bulldogs. Of course, we're going to talk about the Bulldogs. That's just a part of our makeup. But
course.
Winning 6 games, right? Like we're almost there. Like we're literally on the cusp of being a qualified Mountain West Bowl team, literally. So we're right there. All right. So if we win those 6 games, I believe that we can move to the next step. I mean, we win Mountain West Bowl game, right? Next year we become even better, right? Because you know where we're going. We're no longer going to be in the Mountain West. So, I mean, it's going to be better recruits, maybe some NIL money come through, better quality of our fans. Hopefully we'll get the funding to really build that stadium and to the capacity to where we can actually get, funding, from the state or from the city or whatever that may be to support, our football program.
And I know for me, it's kind of like we look at Fresno State. And I mean, you played at Fresno State. I've been going to games my whole entire life. And when Valley Totem Stadium, or when you were there, Dwayne, when it's Bulldog Stadium, when you have 40,000 fans in attendance, the red wave can make a difference. And I think,
Yes.
you know what, hey, you back this team. Hey, after Saturday's game, there's only one more home game. That's like in late November, right before the Bulldogs have their date against UCLA in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on the 30th. You know what, hey, you got to pack the place. It is Hawaii. And you know what? Hey, you got to bring the energy. It's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday. I'll be on the sidelines covering it with our student news station on campus. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be energetic.
And also, I mean, we're talking about rivalry week. I know it's Army versus Air Force, but I know and it's on the high school ranks in the Valley. I know that we're going to take a little bit of a detour. It's Klinger versus Dos Palos, big rivalry matchup. And I know also Roosevelt versus Fresno tomorrow night, I believe, for the battle for the pig. You've coached that rivalry game. Rivalry games bring the energy, especially in high school football. Can you talk about that a little bit, Dwayne?
I would say, just being a head coach in high school, I mean, there's 3 games that really make sense. The first game of the season, right? And then you have your rivalry game, and then you have your homecoming, because those are the games that really make sense, to the students, right? To the student athletes, because those are the most memorable games, right? You win those games. Yes, you want to win a playoff game. You want to go to CIF. You want to win, but those are the most memorable times being a coach, because you actually can see the growth of those players in probably the biggest games that they will ever play in their life, unless they go on to the next level. So I feel that high school rivalry games, in San Diego, I went to Lincoln High School, and our rivals was Morris High School, in San Diego. And then before I went to Lincoln, I went to Morris. So it was Morris versus Lincoln. And then it goes even further, fellas. It goes all the way to Pop Warner Youth. And we have Morris High School, and our youth Pop Warner was Skyline Pop Warner, which was in Skyline. And then you have Lincoln High School Pop Warner team, which was Valencia Park Hornets. So it's like you grow up ready to get into these battles with your friends and your peers. So I think it's the greatest thing ever, high school rivalries, but it's going to get heated. Oh, yeah, it's going down in the Valley, in the city, and in Florida. It's going down.
And also, I mean, Harv, I mean, you're kind of in the mecca of rivalries. I mean, with Florida State, Florida versus Georgia. I mean, you're right in the middle of everything there, my friend.
Right dead smack in the triangle, man. But I only love one team, and that's the one that chalk. So yeah, it's a big week for Miami, for the Canes, and for the Seminoles, which I say FSU. So and you. so I'm looking forward to looking at the game. Well, after I get off from refereeing, so it's gonna be good. Even though Florida State is horrible this season, which I never seen anything like that in my life, for them to be winning forever. So it's never happened in my lifetime. But man, the Canes look real good. So it should. They usually play each other well. It's usually a 2-3 point difference.
And I think with you being in Florida, Harv, does that make the rivalry a little bit more interesting when Florida takes on Florida State? I mean, like Florida might be going bowling. I mean, does Florida State in their shoes say, hey, let's just spoil the Gator season? Hey, you know what? Get the rivalry win. You know what? Knock them out of bowl contention.
Oh yeah. Oh, it go down between us and them. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because they hate to see us doing better than them. So I get it from my friends, man, and my Facebook friends. Man, I got a cousin. He's a big Bulldog fan, and he let me have it because they won like eight of the last 10. So man, it's gonna be. I hope Florida plays well enough to be close. I don't think we'll win, but hopefully it's close.
I gotta add something. I don't know. I'm still in those days where they used to have Florida versus California in high school, and I really do believe that California has better football players than Florida. That can be an argument. That can be an argument we talk about later. But I can say positional wise, you guys probably have more speed. But if we want to get technical, you guys probably have more speed. But quarterbacks, California. Running backs, California. Receivers, California. O-linemen, Florida. Linebackers, Florida. I mean,
none of the offense. No offense. Come on, man. I'm taking the receiver.
You got to
take the receiver.
Maybe I'm being biased.
Y'all ain't better than us on that wide outside, man. Y'all, no, sir. You can't have the receivers. You can keep them.
Well, I know for me, it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I know for me, it's kind of funny.
What's your thoughts, man? I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I mean, for me, I have a good friend that used to do the play-by-play for St. John Bosco, and I always like listening to the Braves and how they travel around like a pseudo D1 squad. But it's always fun when St. John Bosco takes on St. Thomas Aquinas. I always like watching that game. That's an early season matchup. I mean, it's on ESPN. Like, there's nothing on besides like the Week 0 college football games. Watching a good high school game between the Florida and California schools. I mean, hey, it's good stuff. My thing is, I know there's leagues in with the CIF, and you have to play your league and all that. But I mean, it'd be kind of interesting to see St. Thomas Aquinas play St. John Bosco like right now. You know what I mean? Like before going into the playoffs, good battle.
Like right now, huh? Like
hey,
now.
I know I'm not the schedule. Yeah, exactly.
But
hey, look, you know what I mean? Like I know
Harv's like saying we'll have a lot of Florida viewers soon because we like to debate a little bit, but I have to throw out my alma mater, Lincoln High School. We used to be the #1 NFL produced high school in the country, in the world. But since then, they closed down our high school, and then we actually had a coach, David Dunn, Fresno State Bulldog, that actually built up our football program. And we won multiple state championships within the last 6-7 years. So big kudos out to David Dunn and those Hornets. We are #1 in San Diego right now ranked. So I have to put that out there. But nobody seemed to want to play us in San Diego or the county. Nobody wanted to play Lincoln High School. And I was wondering why. It's because of that same thing as a Florida, right? We talk about Boscos and things like this. It's because people are afraid to play talent. They are afraid to play these schools because they feel that they will not be able to last. Well, I'm sorry to say that's just what it is, right? So big shout out to all the big time schools out there that's doing their thing, and to the coaches grinding. Appreciate y'all.
Anyway, when you can't shout out to high schools, I'm gonna give a big shout out to them Cocoa High Tigers, 3-time back-to-back state champs here in Florida. Okay, so
all right, big kudos out there, yes sir,
yes sir, nationally ranked. They are. Well, they was this season, but they done lost a few this season. But last year, St. Thomas Aquinas ripped them off. So yeah, the refs ripped them off last season because Coco should have been undefeated.
You gotta talk to your boys then, D. Harv. You gotta call you a ref, man. You gotta talk to your boys. Tell them
they were from down south. Coco went to them. So they were from down south, but they got suspended. Oh man,
that's
it was a
wild,
mess. It was a mess. Yeah.
Wow.
In the last 34 seconds.
We're gonna send it back to Bryan so he can get us back on track. We'll be talking about rivalry games all weekend. You know what I mean? But it's back to you, Bryan. Go ahead, brother.
And have any? Hey, I know our studio audience probably has some thoughts about this. I know. Do we have any comments in the? Do we have any comments in the chat right now, Dwayne?
Do we have any chat comments? Not quite yet. Oh, one person said, "Who is your favorite college team? Who is your favorite college team?"
Ooh.
Well, I mean, if you look in the background, like who is your favorite college team? That's the question. They must have just got.
I would say, hey, it's Fresno State.
Mine is Florida.
I know, D-Harv. Hey, can you do the chop again, D-Harv? Do the chop. Do the chop, D-Harv.
Oh my God! You know what? If you out there tuning in, everybody know what that chop mean, but
we chop. We chop. We don't chop. FSU is the chop.
Okay, all right, we'll give it to you.
Yeah, they chop.
But yeah, our teams. You heard our teams. Bryan Welch said Fresno State, D-Harv, Florida Gators. Myself, Fresno State. And then also West Hills College, Coalinga College is my favorite college team, JUCO, and also Fresno City as well. Big shout out to Justin Berner over at Coalinga. Big shout out to Coach C over at Fresno City and Coach Brown and all those great coaches over there. You know, but I was thinking before we move on, I was thinking about the big game. You know, the big game. We talk about college rivalry, but we cannot not talk not the big game, but just the game. Ohio State versus Michigan. That game alone, growing up, I love watching that game on Prime TV. I love it.
Yes.
I know.
Go ahead, Pete.
Go ahead, Bryan.
I know. For me, I love that game because you get to see everybody go after each other. And it is straight 3.5 hours of people talking trash to each other. Right. And I mean, like last year's game, I mean, like how crazy and bizarre that was at the big house. I mean, I had friends that they went to the game, and I'm just like, that's like a bucket list game you have to go to, not to cover, but just be a fan. Have to go to the Horseshoe or go to the big house to watch a game.
What's the most storied game? It's the most storied game in college football history. Think about it. The USC and Notre Dame, like these are the games that people literally save for their whole lives, right? And like fly out to or road trip out to, you know. I mean, I don't know. I look forward to it. I don't like Ohio State. I do like Michigan. Because you know we have the Ohio State rivalry with Fresno State over the years, but I do like the ball that they play. They play some tough ball, you know. So I do like Ohio State, but I do like Michigan as well.
So for me, I like Michigan because I got 3 homeboys from Titusville High School, 2-time state champs: Anthony Mitchell, Gerald White, Dave Chester, that played for Michigan and Bo. So that's how I like Michigan. But I'm still a blue and orange Gator on the.
Oh, get out of here, man! I thought you said LSU, man.
Like I never liked Ohio State. I don't know why, but it's just not been me. So, but good luck to them. So,
I mean, when I grew up, I watched Terrell Pryor play. I mean, like watching Terrell Pryor on TV. I mean, like those teams from Ohio State when they dominated that series against Michigan. Then when they had Rich Rodriguez from Michigan, they had Brady Hoke way back in the day. I know Brady Hoke, really good teams. And then when Harbaugh came in, it changed the narrative and made it more competitive and and those are the games that people watch because it's not a game. It is a game, but it's a chess match.
That's it.
Especially last year with Harbaugh and Ryan Day duking it out on the chessboard, on having those great plays. I mean, Michigan was one of the best teams in the country, besides the sign stealing scandal with Connor Stallions and all that. We can go into that later. But I mean, that was the best Michigan team to face Ohio State. Probably
I think so, but we're all forgetting the greatest DB ever to play for Michigan, and that is who? Charles Woodson. So you got to think about those days too. Yeah, it goes all the way back to where we're kids as well. I mean, you just can't get no better than those teams, man. But we're going to go into a commercial, and when we come back, we are going to go into our next segment where we listen to that Florida music a little bit, and then we're going to have our hot topic. And we be back in a few. Yo, we are back. And it's no other than D Harv. This is his segment, so I'm going to let him take over this segment before we get into some juicy Heisman talk. We're going to let D Harv get us in the mood real quick. Get us in the mood a little bit, D Harv. There we go.
Welcome to Florida. Sit down, we don't sit around. But we got this Heisman talk coming up. We got a debate on who gonna win this Heisman trophy. I'm looking at Travis Hunter and Ashton Jeffrey from Boise State. Travis Hunter, as you know, is from Colorado, by way of Jackson State University in the Sonic Boom. Travis Hunter on field is just amazing. But when they showed him the injuries on field, this was on a whole nother level when that backhand coming off. So, from the stats I have, Travis Hunter had 60 receptions, 757 yards, touchdowns, averaging 12.6 yards.
Man, he must have been through Hurricane Katrina.
I think he just left. He just left.
Man, hey, but you know what?
I think he just left.
Hey, the Travis Hunter haters and cut him off.
He left.
The Travis, there he is. He's coming back on. But I think, there he is. He's coming back. Here we go. But I think, are you back? Are you back, D-Ho?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. They must have got mad at me talking about Travis Hunter and Ashton. So, but yeah. But on the defensive side, Travis Hunter got 13 solo tackles, so interception, and 38 touchdowns. That must be for his career stats.
No, I think it's 38. He has 38 38-yard interception.
Oh, 38 yards. Okay.
Yeah, 38 touchdowns. We're talking about record.
Yeah,
nobody will ever break that right there. You know.
Right.
But we're gonna go over those stats real quick, D Harv, because I know you went in and out on it. So I know our fans. I'm gonna go over what you just said real quick so they can actually hear. We're talking about Travis Hunter's stats. Okay, D Harv already mentioned them. Offensive stats: 150. Oh no, I'm thinking of Gentry. I'm sorry. 60 receptions, 757 yards, 8 TDs. He averages 12.6 yards a catch. That's ridiculous. We're talking about the offensive side. Now we're talking about the defense. D. Harv already said he had 20 total tackles, 13 total tackles, 7 assists. He has 0 forced fumbles. He has 1 interception for 38 yards. I mean, come on. I mean, he plays both ways. He plays
both ways.
Both ways.
That's what I'm leaning on. Both ways. This dude giving a lot of energy to play both sides of the ball. That's just crazy. So that's where I'm leaning. Travis Hunter as the Heisman. But man, this dude that's running that ball for Boise State, though, he's different. Yeah, he got 159 carries, 1,376 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 8.7 is his average per carry. So
that's pretty good.
But those are some good numbers.
That's pretty good.
But Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball.
But there's another component. Welch and Harv, there's another component to this. We're talking about Boise State, who's a traditionally passing team. Okay, so when opponents play Boise State, they're expecting a pass-dominant team. Right. This gentleman came in and shocked the whole world because I'm sure that the opponents of Boise was not preparing for a run game in the offseason or preparing, week to week. So they have to prepare themselves to try to stop the run and the pass. That's difficult. And then if you get the pass game to go, that's why this gentleman is so successful. Now, I've seen some great running backs in my time that did this at Fresno State as well. It's just a different time. It's a different time and era, right? So him putting up these numbers, they seem like they're mediocre to running backs, right? But you have to think about nowadays how the game has changed. These numbers, there's nobody that I feel right now in the game of college football that is running like this young man. They're comparing him to Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, and they're doing these comparisons. But again, Barry Sanders didn't have these numbers at this time that he had. So he has the potential to just go even further than that. I mean, Welch, you want to share something on that?
I have 2 words. It's Ashton Genty. And I would put Ashton Genty on that Mount Rushmore of Boise State running backs that has the likes of Doug Martin and Jay Ajayi way back in the day. But exactly, Ashton Genty is a Heisman running back. He has the pedigree. He has the look of a Heisman Trophy winner. Don't get me wrong. I love watching Travis Hunter play, but when you have a running back that just stands there and gives you the stare, like I'm gonna run through you like a freight train, you just gotta hand him the Heisman Trophy right now. We'll just do the ceremony in New York, and he's getting the yards against really good teams. Especially, he went off against Oregon. I know that was not a game the Broncos would like to have back, but hey, you know what? He is going to be somebody that's special. And if Boise State, what they're talking about right now, if they run the table in the group of 5, if they go to a playoff game, being that group of 5 representative, he's going to be definitely hosting that trophy up in New York. He has to be one of the 3 selected to be in that running in December. If he's not selected for the Heisman, then I don't know what's going on. I mean, it would be good to see Travis Hunter get it, but it has to be Ashton Genty. Come on. I mean, the guy is going to have a – Go ahead.
Well, I had to just add that in there. I'm not a Boise hater, okay, guys. I just don't like the Broncos. I don't hate the Broncos. I don't hate Boise, just like Broncos. But I do love him. Again, I'm a running back, so when I see a natural runner, I believe that he's a natural runner. But there is nobody in college football history besides Charles Woodson. D. Harv already mentioned it earlier. Besides Charles Woodson, that can be a Travis Hunter. This gentleman came from a traditional HBCU, Jackson State University, where, okay, let's be realistic. The play may not be on the same level, right, as a Colorado or a Pac-12 or anything of that nature, right? But him and Shador, not forget about him, but they came to a D1 program and put up numbers the exact same or not better numbers that they did at a HBCU. Not only do we have Deion haters out there, not only do we have Colorado, where they had commits that just say, you know what, we're not going to go there anymore. Deion Sanders came and cleaned it out. We are talking about a team that faces adversity. We're talking about Travis Hunter, who's able to face anybody at any time, any place like Pat Hill, and be destructive. He plays defensive back. I seen something like he played 130 snaps in a row or something like that and missed like 9 plays. Who does that? Like, nobody does that. The kid is fast. He's an animal. He's a freak. But you know what? To sell TV deals, I think we're not going to know anything until that day in New York City.
And also, I mean, if he go ahead, D Harv. I know that you're beating the drum for Travis Hunter, but I know for me, it's kind of like, hey, if you look at if he goes to the draft this season, does he go defense or offense? That's the question. I don't think there's been that conversation talking about saying, hey, if he goes both ways, that'd be pretty interesting to watch. What do you think he'll go there, D Harv?
I think somebody will use him on both sides of the ball if it's more. But the NFL is just a faster game because he gonna get hit pretty hard at times. So it's on him which side he really want to play. I'd rather be the one hitting instead of getting hit. So
well, D Harv, you said he's going to get hit, but I mean the young man is 185 pounds. I mean that's around the same size as Hill, Tyreek Hill, or some of the other receivers. And again, he's not as fast as Tyreek Hill, and Xavier Worthy, Fresno. Give a big shout out to Central High School, but
that's right.
He is a better skill set player than both of those, I believe, at receiver. I truly believe he runs better routes. I believe that he puts DBs on their toes, but I do not think he's going to play defensive back at the next level at all. He's going to be a receiver. Matter of fact, he's going to be a slot receiver. That he's going to be a specialized slot receiver that is going to be put in situations with mismatches. I can
see that. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. So
I know for me, yeah, exactly. I know for me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, DR. But also, I mean, when you see Travis Hunter run routes like you talked about before, Dwayne, he's very quick. He's not. He plays. I call it happy feet. Able to make the DB guess. If you're able to make the DB guess pretty well, and especially be that elusive for Travis. You know what? That makes it really special to watch in the NFL. And I mean, you know what? Hey, Travis Hunter, I listen to Colorado. I'm good friends with the play-by-play voice at Colorado, the voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. And I mean, they're taught listening to the broadcast. They love watching Travis Hunter play both sides of the ball. I mean, you know what? Hey, if he wants to play both sides of the ball, let him. You know what? I agree with you, D-Hard. Let him bulk up. Hey, get some pasta. Get some of that work. Hey, get him to work in the weight room and work out in the off season. And you know what? He'll be ready to go in September next year for the NFL if he goes to the draft.
He's definitely going first round.
Definitely
in
the first round.
Well, Ashton is going to go hopefully late first, early second. That's just what it is, running back wise. But I hope someone pick him up like a Denver. I think he'll be a great addition in Denver. They like those type of running backs, those downhill, aggressive type running backs with speed. I can see him playing out of Pittsburgh, Steelers, being a Steeler, or, teams of that nature. I can see him in San Francisco. Like he has so much upside. But then again, I'm just a Deion Sanders believer. I mean, the guy came from pretty much, and we can say from the football coaching world, nothing to something, from something to nothing. He built Jackson State back up. Jackson State was already a preliminary HBCU that is known to have NFL players before Deion Sanders. But Deion Sanders added a whole different element, and that element was to promote not just African-American players, but coaches as well. And that is why he is so successful at Colorado, because every single player, no matter what color, creed they're from, wants to go to Colorado, because that's what the game is about now. It's about playing good football, looking good, feeling good, and promoting your darn self. That's how it should be. You know, football. I always say this, and I'm going to pass it on to you guys. I always say this: we take sports so serious now. Yes, I love wearing suits. Many of us wore suits playing football games or basketball, professional baseball. But like, if a guy wears sweats, we're looking down on him and saying like, "Why is he wearing sweats to a pregame?" Or "Why is he wearing Crocs?" Or, I mean, come on, like this is sports. Sports is the only sport. Well, sports is the only sport, but sports is the only entity that you can be as aggressive as you want. You can think freely as you want. You can follow the rules and still do the great talents that God gave you, but you can be yourself. And that's what I like about Deion Sanders and what he's bringing to the table at Colorado. They said he couldn't do it, and now look at him. They said he couldn't do it. He's, I mean, what? One game away from being in a bowl game or bowl eligible, or he's already bowl eligible. I mean, he's going to change the face if he don't go to the Jets next year.
Yeah, but I would like to see Shador in Dallas as our quarterback and just get rid of Dak.
Oh, man. Come on, man. You don't like Dak or what? We're on Heisman talking. We're already back to Dak. What do you don't like about Dak, man? Come on.
Shador got a chance. Well, he might be the third pick in New York for the Heisman. So,
yeah,
just throwing that out there.
That's right. All right, we're going to go into one more commercial before we bring it back. Oh, no, we're no. You know what? Bryan did have something he wanted to say about that. I'm sorry, Bryan. Go ahead, man.
You're good, Dwayne. But I mean, it's not. I love Coach Prime and how he's having his players have accountability. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, especially like you see those meetings he has with his players in front, like when they post on Twitter and stuff. He's holding his players to a high standard on the field, but also off the field, because you are a student athlete, student first, athlete second. And he's preaching that because he's saying, hey, you know what? You may not go to the NFL, but you have to pass your classes because you might get that degree is very valuable. It's very important.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, Bryan. We appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit more about that and tie that into a little bit of Fresno State and also just NCAA when we come back. We'll see y'all in a quick second.
Even better than Christmas.
All right, we are back. I think Welch was talking about the academics, right, from Deion Sanders. He was speaking how Deion Sanders is more than just a coach that speaks prettiness and, you know, all those good things that a recruit wants. He says, Bryan says, you know, it's all about academics, which that is number one. You know, being a student athlete, you know, a lot of people always criticize that student athletes have it the easiest, which is not true. They say student athletes, you know, get favored. That is not true. You know, while regular students are studying for a test for a whole week or weekend, student athletes have to go to the weight room. They have to take care of their bodies. They have to go to practice. They have to go to practice. They have to go to meetings. They have to go to the media. Then they have to go to, you know, practice and then meetings and then class and then all that good stuff. And you have to learn how to balance yourself. That's one thing I like what Bryan said about Deion Sanders. He's a Hall of Famer. So you would think he should know the steps, right, on how to take those initiatives to have those players to be positive, right?
Well, I know for me, it's just like, hey, I was a student athlete. I mean, I played tennis in high school. I know I'm not a D1 athlete, but I know for me, it's like you have practice, you have study hall, and you have to go home and you're sore and you're tired. And I know it's easy for me to say because I'm a broadcaster now, but it's like you kind of think about like, hey, you know what? This is kind of the grind right now. But also, hey, it's also midterms. We just finished up midterms at Fresno State. Everybody's tired. And I know, especially for student athletes, hey, you got to have that. Hey, you're studying and also at the athletics, you're a student first. That's the thing. That's the thing right there. You're a student first and an athlete second. You got to take care of all this stuff in the classroom. Like for you at Fresno State, Dwayne, hey, you know what? Pat Hill always talked about being successful in the classroom.
Yeah, and I think success has a lot to do. We talked about I can't think of his name, the head coach that they fired at Jets, right? They fired him, right?
Robert Saleh.
Yeah. So think about that, right? You have a head coach with a vision. That vision sticks with you for the rest of your life. Pat Hill at Fresno State, he's a guru. The reason why is because I will say all of us, I will say probably 99% of the players who played under Pat Hill are either businessmen, successful businessmen, they're teachers, they're great fathers, they're educators, they're lawyers, they're doctors. I mean, you can go on and on and on. It's because he instilled us how to be businessmen while we were playing the game of football, not just academically, but how to just be a great person. He was all about that. Pat Hill had the handlebar mustache, but he had a heart too. He wasn't just as hard as people thought he was, but he wanted to make sure that all of us know that education was important, because a lot of us came from nothing, right? So we had to figure it out, how to utilize football to pay those bills when we get older, and learning how to promote ourselves and speak and all these different things, and all the great coaches that's out there. I mean, Pat Hill came under Belichick. So if you think about all the coaches that came under Belichick, Pat Hill was one of his first coaches, and you can go on and on and on. So I think I just like you were saying, man, I think a lot of head coaches are starting to go that route, with all their student athletes and preaching that.
Well, also, I mean, you look at it. I mean, you still remember eat your breakfast, right? Coach
Yes.
always used to tell you that, right?
Eat your breakfast.
And also drink your chocolate milk.
Drink your chocolate milk. That's important. Oh my God!
Right.
And those things stick with you,
Where
man.
did D-Harv go? Where did he?
D-Harv, man, I'm thinking those Hurricanes may be coming back, man. He keeps popping off of there. I think he's back. Okay, D-Harv is back, man. Do you need us to fly you back out to California or what?
They talking about is one out there. I don't know which way it's coming.
We figured.
I don't even know what's going on with my Wi-Fi, man. It's bugging.
Man, but you know what? Before we go, we literally have 12 minutes, but we wanted everyone to just check out this Travis Hunter and Ashton highlight, because it's just quick. It's really quick, but you can kind of see what we're talking about. We're going to check it out, and then we'll hope that we'll get some private messages or some messages sent over. But I just want y'all to check it out. Kudos to YouTube for cutting up these highlights. We're just using them for this point. We do not own the highlights, but we're just sharing them. So we're going to... All right, all right. You talking about turning somebody into a believer? I'm sorry, just those highlights alone. I mean, oh boy, man, Travis Hunter, he's going to win a Heisman. He's going to win a Heisman. I know Bryan Welch. I know we got to keep it all the way G on it, but if he doesn't win the Heisman, something is wrong. I'm sorry, something is wrong.
I mean, it's also the swagger. I forgot. I forgot about the game against North Dakota State because I was doing a high school game in Sanger, and I saw the highlights. And he has the swagger. It looks like it's Deion Sanders reborn in the 21st century. It's if Travis Hunter does not win the Heisman, there's something wrong. But also, if Ashton Genty, I wish they would give ties for the Heisman. You know what I mean? Like
I do
two
too.
people win the Heisman.
Flip a coin. Flip a coin. You know, respectfully, I like both of them. And I know we're not talking about all the other Heisman hopefuls. They have no chance. So they might as well just show up and eat some New York pizza and enjoy the hotel. But there's two guys that I feel that are probably in the top, I'll say 15, 20 of best college football players ever. And I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great ordeal in New York City.
Yeah, most definitely. I can't wait to see it.
You can't wait to see it, or you can't wait to be there. Let's hope we get enough viewers for us to be there. I would love to be there.
Yeah, I would too, but I can't wait to see it.
Man, I know. So before we get off, we got about 4 minutes. I hope you all are enjoying our show. Again, this is only our second episode. We have many, many, many more to bring to you. Next week is our JUCO. I call it the JUCO Alliance because we're going to interview and have a panel of JUCO football players from all over the country that's going to be on with us. And we'll be able to ask them questions, share some great stories with them, and also give you some insight on how community college football is and why we should help these young men get to the promised land. All right. So as you can see, I'm wearing the Tongva football. That's Gabrielino High School here in Los Angeles County in San Gabriel. I'm going to try to wear a different hat every single show. So if you want to stay tuned, send us a message, shoot us a text or email, get on all the social media plugs. You see our social media, you can see everybody's down there. If you look at our IGs and our Twitter X's, we have all the information. And we'll be able to, kind of answer your questions because we want our show to be funky. We want it to be. We want it to laughter. We want people to laugh. We want people to cry. We want people to talk stuff. Like, that's what we want. You know what I mean? Because we are the straight up on game sports show. We are signing off. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.